Hello, folks. This is Sue Bell from Market Domination Solutions, and we are here today to talk about traffic getting. This is like the ultimate compendium of all things traffic getting and some fun stuff along the way. And yeah, we're just going to have a lot of fun. So a little bit of housekeeping. This is going to be at least a two-parter. I had a huge Google Doc that I was trying to cram into slides, and we got to the 1 hour mark, and it was like, well, this can be a 3 hour webinar, or we can do this in a couple pieces. So this what I'm doing today is going to be a two-parter, but I'm also going to talk about a lot of things I want to deep dive into, and the other thing that we've been kicking around the last couple of days, which I think would be really good, is what's coming, a calendar of events that we have on the website. I mean, we try to do a weekly wrap up every week and let you know what's coming in the following week and all that kind of good stuff. But I think to let everybody plan for the things that they really want to see, we'll do a calendar and let you know what's going on across everything, all of the courses that we've got going on and all of that kind of stuff. And then I want to start a vote on Facebook. Let me just grab you guys the link because I know not everybody's in Facebook yet. Still, whatever. Particularly those people who hate Facebook. I tell you, I'm becoming a convert. Just make sure that's going to be. That does not look like the right link. Let me try again. I don't know. Maybe convert's a wrong term. There we go. But I don't hate Facebook as much as I used to, so long as I stay out of the regular feed and I just go into the groups that I want to be in and do the things I want to do, right? Anyway, so if you're not there, hit me up. I'll let you in, and I'll let you guys participate in choosing the topics that we discuss on the webinars and the courses that we release and all of that kind of good stuff, because I would rather do the things that you really want rather than the things that I think are important, or maybe a little bit of a mix. So action plans. I talked in the email a bit about action plans, and the idea with action plans all started with total video domination. We were going through and we had all of these different things that you needed to do to be able to rank videos. And when I stepped back and I looked at it, I was like, well, that's beautiful, but like without a plan, people are going to get confused. Like I could look at it and I could be confused. So we did an action plan for total video domination. And as I started putting this webinar together, I was like, man, that's what we really need. And folks have talked to me about, can you talk about marketing for e-com and affiliate? I'm like, well, it's all the same thing, right? It's all the same elements. But if you look at it from this perspective of an action plan, there are definitely different priorities. Some things are more important depending on the kind of thing that you're marketing. And then there are differences, there are nuances that I would do differently, whether it's e-com or affiliate or small business. So I'll talk a little bit about some of the nuances today as we go through, but we will definitely put together the action plans. We started that, but there's still too many rough edges for me to feel like I want to put them out today. So when we do part 2, we'll release those documents then. So I'm going to start with SEO because that seems to be the thing that's just like the most popular. Everybody wants to know about SEO. Let me get back to my slide deck on my other screen so that I've got links and stuff as I want to shoot you guys. I was looking through a couple articles and there was this one thing that said, implement good SEO. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how do you define what good is? It's such a relative term. So one thing I haven't done in a very long time is dig through some of the patents that have come out recently. I mean, I look at them, but I haven't talked about them on a webinar in a very long time. And I think it's very long overdue. I want to show you guys what it is I'm seeing. Not just about like SEO type patents, but just what Google's doing with patents in general, because if you look at the patents that they're putting out, if you follow what it is that they're talking about, you can see what's important to them and where they're headed in the big picture, and rather than a rather myopic picture about, how can I get my site to rank, which is important. But if you look at it from the big picture perspective, there's going to be a serious aha moment. And somewhere in the last month, I had a real epiphany of where I see both Amazon and Google going, and it's not a pretty picture. And that is a topic for another day. But just know I have an evil plot that I am hatching that I would love for all of you guys to get involved with me, where we basically take on the giants and see if we can't, bring Goliath to his knees, kind of a thing. So back to SEO. For now, know that links really work best. Thanks, Neil. For now, know that links work best when there's traffic. So in other words, a link without traffic doesn't get as much kudos as a link with traffic. I've seen no follow links with traffic mean more to a site than a do follow link from a pretty good DA site where there's not any traffic. Like not a lot of traffic on the site and definitely no traffic coming through the link. So links work best where there's traffic. Google prefers its own properties. It's very incestuous. It rewards you prolifically for linking from its other properties. And, I think there's a new Google property that comes out every week. And you can't go wrong with lots of content, because lots of content means more keywords. It means more long tails. It means more thematic relevance. I would say that the bar has been raised over the course of the last 24 months. Used to be you could get away with 200-300 words. Now I would say minimum 500, preferably 750. But some of the methodologies that I talked about in recent webinars with the whole recording your blog post. I got an email about that I haven't answered yet, by the way, if you're on the call. I haven't forgotten you. I've just been super busy. Recording your blog posts can generate a reasonable amount of content. If you're not generating enough content that way, like get a question. I like questions with soapboxes. I mean, I have more soapboxes under my desk than I should have. I don't know what to compare it to. What then the US has $1 bills? I don't know. Like there's a lot of them. So it's really easy for me to pull out a soapbox and talk for rather a good. Yeah, Carter's got little liver pills, exactly. It's not hard for me to pull out a soapbox and talk for, I don't know, 15-20 minutes. In fact, the hard part is me trying to get the box back under the desk. But so I would say maybe if you're having problems creating an audio with enough content in it, get something that you're a little bit more passionate about. Like don't be afraid to go into some details, that kind of thing. Anyway, all right, okay, content. E-commerce. I've had several people talk to me about e-commerce over the course of the last month. I always defer to Amazon. Like for the last many years, I have deferred to Amazon when somebody asks me a question about how they should arrange their e-commerce platform, because they have the hugest R&D platform. They are always split testing. They've got more traffic than you can shake a stick at, and they've got good ideas. Now, sometimes I'll take it and mod it a little bit, and obviously you have to work within the constraints of whatever e-com platform you're working on, but I can always extrapolate something and create something that way. So that's just something that you should always keep in the back of your head if you're doing some kind of e-commerce. Look at Amazon, see what it is that they're doing. One of the biggest problems I see with e-commerce is the lack of original content. A lot of e-com sites, they get their product information off of a feed from the manufacturer, and so everybody's got the same content, right? So that becomes ugly. And I've talked to guys where they've got like a couple thousand, like a small store can be a couple thousand products, right? And so they're like, well, how do I even begin to figure out what it is I'm going to go in and modify the content for it? And I would say most of the time I say 80-20 rule, but when it comes to content like that, if you've got a lot, then you want to take your top 5%, your top 2%, start with the things that mean the most to you and modify the content, the descriptions on those products first. But UGC, user-generated content, is the obvious answer to how do I get original content on all of my products. And there you kind of got to go back and see what you can do. Almost all of the e-com platforms these days allow for reviews of some sort. So just make sure that your post-purchase email sequence prompts people to come back and leave a review. Like if you can manage to include a link to make it easy, the easier you can make it, the more people are likely to do it. The other thing that Amazon's got is the ability for visitors to ask questions about a product prior to purchase. And that I don't see with all the e-com platforms, but that's also a really great way to get more information in there. And then I would even go so far to see if it's possible to reward users that post frequently on your site, even if it's just a status. Like that's mostly what Amazon does, right? They have, the top 100 or top 1,000 reviewers, that kind of thing. That's enough motivation for a lot of people. All right, so SEO General Rule, because we are still talking about SEO, right? If it's obvious, don't do it because everybody's going to be doing it, and therefore Google, if they're not penalizing it right this minute, they will be shortly, right? So if it's obvious, if it's easy, if it can be automated, if somebody has already built a piece of software and it's cheap, forget about it because it's going to be abused quickly. Like those are the things that I just stay away from. I give those things a really wide berth. Contrast, if it's obscure, give it a try. It'll probably work, especially if nobody's talking about it. Right? And there's some things, this is probably on the next slide. Just a second, let me catch up with myself. Yes, there's some things that are hard to do, and those things tend to work for a really long time, especially if it cannot be automated because people don't have the time to do it. They don't take the time to do it. They hate to do things that are hard. They just don't slow down, right? So for example, going in and putting in meta keywords into your images works like gangbusters, particularly for long tails. Like you don't even need inbound links sometimes. You can put a URL in your metadata too. So, and I think I covered that. I probably covered it in one of the trainings, like the video training or something like that. So interesting idea. Okay, thanks. So if you're, give me a one if you guys have got like an evil secret trick that's hard to do that nobody's talking about. You don't have to tell me what it is. I just want to know how many of you guys out there have like a trick like that, a trick like putting the keywords in the metadata that gives me the opportunity to have a sip of coffee. I don't have any ones coming across. Nobody's got any evil tricks, huh? Wow. All right, give me a 3 if you want me to go down my list of evil tricks. Can't guarantee we'll have time today, but oh, there's a few 3s. Quite a few 3s. All right. All right, evil tricks on the list then. So there's a lot of the basic stuff inside of the cracked and condensed foundational ninja training. There's all of the let me just pull it up for a sec. Hang on. All of the things that you should do. I don't have this as a link in here, do I? No. All of the things that you should do. Cracked and condensed. That's not nice. Library, cracked and condensed. So in here, in cracked and condensed, I talk a lot about, picking keywords, long tails, basic on-page optimization, canonical tags, schema, site-wide optimization, that kind of stuff. So because I cover that in here, I'm probably not going to cover that sort of stuff in a webinar, but I could cover evil tricks. All right. Examples of things that work, like just quick and dirty examples of things that work. Keyword and URL. That is like the most powerful. I don't know. That I hear people argue about whether it's more powerful in the URL or in the meta title. My personal take on it is that it's more powerful in the URL, but I haven't tested it in a little while, so I could be wrong. So powerful in the URL, powerful in the meta title. It's really good in an H tag. And then everything else is lesser. So like in an image name, in the alt text for the media, embedded in the media, in the metadata, and embedded in and to have the URLs embedded in metadata. Those things are all lesser. So let me take a moment and explain the way that I look at keywords, because I'm going to talk about panelization here in a second. Just make sure I don't get ahead of myself. So as we look at this list, like, think about the keyword in the URL being worth, let's say, 20 points, and the keyword in the meta title being worth something like 15 points, and a keyword in an H tag being worth something like 5 points, and then the rest of these being worth 1 and 2 points, right? So you take and you combine those numbers, and over-optimization has to do with when you crest over a number. Like, let's say you crest over 50 or you crest over 35. And the number that you're going to crest over depends on the keyword, right? It depends on how common the keyword is in everyday language, how much it's used, what the norm is on other people's websites. There's no such thing as a hard and fast keyword density. There's keyword density guidelines, but there's no hard and fast rule. And I have seen pages that have just got the most ginormous density, and they're still ranking #1. And I just, like, insane densities, like 30% or something. For it was like SEO Melbourne or something like that. It was not a particularly, it wasn't a keyword that I thought was going to be, because it had a geo modifier in it. I was just thinking, well, 30% is ridiculous, and yet they sit firmly in the #1 position. So it's relative. And if you want to understand what your keyword density should be, you need to look at the keyword density of your top competitors. Now, there's more than just on page to be considered when you're talking about over-optimization. So let's say that every page on your website, let's say you've got 100 pages and you've got 20 pages that talk about this keyword. So then, you're going to add up sort of the value, the previous value that I was talking about for each one of those pages, and you're going to look at that from a site-wide perspective, right? So if you've got, let's say you've got the keyword actually in your domain name, that means it ends up in the URL of every single page, which can be awesome, but it can also quickly push you over that over-optimization category, right? Now, if Google perceives the keyword as being your brand, that's one thing. But if it perceives it as being a keyword, then you're open to over-optimization if it's overly used. So that's why you see people talk frequently about the idea that exact match domains are bad. And then, somebody else you'll say talking about how awesome exact match domains are. You just have to be aware of that total on-page, on-site usage. And it's the same thing why people teach don't put the same keyword in the URL and the meta title and the H1 tag, right? There's a lot of people that teach make those three things either radically different keywords like synonyms or at least variations of the keyword so that you don't crust over that number, that magic number, that magic threshold that puts you into that over-optimization category. Now, the wonderful thing about over-optimization is if you suffer from that, you can simply reduce the optimization, have Google recrawl your site, resubmit your sitemap, and it'll be fixed in a relatively short period of time. However, if you're in a number one position for a keyword, and it's like one of your main money keywords, as you add pages and as you add content and as you modify pages, you just want to be aware of that usage so that you don't get yourself into hot water. All right. Oh, the other thing that you have to consider are the keywords on your inbound links. That also adds to that Uber number that we were talking about earlier, right? That threshold number. So you've got two things that you want to consider. Then the number of times that you have that you're using an inbound link, or you're using a keyword in an inbound link, and how it equates to the holistic picture of your website. And I don't hear too many people talk about it from that holistic perspective. It's, again, it's not, I don't know of any tool out there that can go out and analyze your entire website and your competitors' entire websites and come back and tell you where you stand. There is one that comes close-ish. Oh, it's not going to come immediately to mind. No. Shoot. I'll put it in the replay. I'll put it in the description of the replay because I have it in my list of links, but it'll take me too long to find it. I don't want to hold you guys up. So there is one that analyzes, it'll analyze your entire website as well as your web page and come back and make recommendations for what you should do, how you should optimize your page, including keywords and removing keywords and that kind of thing. And it's the closest I've seen. I won't say that, I don't completely agree with it, but it is the closest thing that I've seen. So there is one piece of software out there. All right, backlinks. Of all the people that ping me and say that they have problems with their website rankings, I would say that the number one reason for inexperienced SEOs to not get their sites ranked is that they don't have good, solid, significant backlinks. If your site has never been ranked, chances are you need good backlinks. Build some social links first before you do the do follow links, and I'll talk in a few minutes about places where you can get do follow links. Themes, and I'm not talking about your WordPress theme. I'm talking about the theme on page. Yes, they still matter. In fact, I would say they matter, well, at least as much as they ever have. I don't know if it's actually more. You want to have a theme per page. You want to have a selection of keywords about that theme, called LSIs or semantically related keywords. Your inbound links, you want those to be about your theme, or you can have branded, or you can have, nondescript links too. But you don't want to, like, if you're on a dog page, don't create an inbound link about cats, right? Proximity matters. Your inbound links, your pages, like, this is all basic stuff, right? If you're creating a link, a lot of people go out and they'll put like a comment or something like that to create a link, and the theme of that page matters. Don't create a link. Like, if you're going to go out and create a link on a YouTube video, make sure the YouTube video is about the theme of your web page, right? Simple, basic stuff. Mobile first. If you haven't been notified by Google that your website has gone mobile first, you should be ready for it anyway. You want a secure certificate, you want a responsive theme, and you want speed. And I still see a bunch of people who are like, yeah, I'll do that someday. Someday is here. do that now. Like that should be like top of your list. Port it over to responsive. Make sure you've got a secure certificate in SSL. Free ones are available. I think that's on the next page. Oh, I'm not checking to see if I've got links for you guys. Sorry. Hang on. Themes. All right, we're good. We're good. All right. Speed. So 3 major things about speed. Things that I see people fall down on a lot. Let me talk about images first. I've created some sites where the client was extremely picky about their images. And I talk in Ninja about, well, let me just get that plugin for you. Hang on a second. There is an image compression plugin. Let me make sure this is the right one. It just doesn't seem like the right one. Hang on. Let me just go there and make sure. Bah, humbug. Yeah, I think this is it. Short pixel image optimizer. So that'll let you resize your images, like I should say compress your images. It takes out some of the data in your images so that you can still have big images, but they take up less space. They don't take as long to bring down. For smaller images on your website, resize them before you upload them. Like take the time. I'm lazy. That's another one of those like do as I say, don't do as I do. I'm getting a rush and I'm doing that on a regular basis, but man, that's the thing that just slows down my page load speed faster than anything else. CDNs. So for a while, everybody said don't use Cloudflare because Google seemed to be penalizing some Cloudflare websites. And what the deal was is Cloudflare will give you an SSL, like it provides everybody with an SSL, and oh, thanks, Dragon. And some of those SSLs were bad. There was a whole thing where, oh, glory be. Anyway, where there were a bunch of certificates that got hacked. And some of those certificates were the ones that Cloudflare was using. And so that was the background for why some of Cloudflare's sites that were using SSLs were being blacklisted by Google. It was because the secure certificate was not secure. So that has been fixed. It's been fixed for about a year. Cloudflare reissued all of their SSLs, and that's all good at this point. There's no reason to not use a CDN because Cloudflare is free. They do provide you a solid SSL, and you can get around the whole issue with that extremely painlessly. And then finally, browser caching. A lot of caching options. The thing that I'll say about caching, if you're going to use a caching plugin, I make sure I've got my website set up and made all of my initial changes, and then I turn a cache on. All right. So, section 2. Questions or comments before I go on? Because we're going to talk about a completely different concept at this juncture. Let me get back around and make sure that I don't have links or anything. Good stuff. Excellent. Thank you. All right. Google My Business. We're going to have a deep dive into this. I've had a couple people ask me to run through all of the new changes with Google My Business, and there are bunches. It's like changed completely in the last 12 months, maybe 14 months. But for today, let me just go with some basics. Don't keyword stuff. Like, use a keyword once. I sit down when I do a new client, GMB, I sit down with a list of keywords that I want to have them rank for in the maps, and I use each keyword once, and I make it all sound natural. Fill out your whole profile, upload images and videos, and this is where you can geotag your images, and you can put some keywords in your images and all of that kind of good stuff. That does help. Be aware of the names of your videos and your images before you upload them. And then one of the interesting things that you can do these days is write posts for GMB. So like little blog posts, they last for about a week. You can also have events, and the events will persist for about a year. And there's some automation to schedule the writing of those posts that have come out recently. And so, what I said earlier about automation, this is one of those places where I would make an exception. I would go ahead and write your posts and schedule them to post regularly. I don't have the links to that automation, sorry, right at the moment, but I'll see if we can't get that in the replay. If not, yeah, I'll see if we can't get it in the replay. So links, you want to start with citations, always a basic, right? Citations and some no-follow links before you start doing do-follow links. So if you're going to do follow links, when you're ready to do that, guest blogging on a high-traffic site. So if you have a choice between writing a blog post, getting a guest blog post posted on a thematically related site with a lower DA, or on a non-thematically related site with a higher DA, I would go with the thematically related site. It will mean more, right? If you've got the majority of that website that's in the same vertical as your site, that link will mean more. So, and the other thing I would say is links plus traffic. So imagine this, if you actually post on a thematically related blog and you've got, most of the traffic on that blog is in that vertical, you're also going to garner a whole lot more traffic that's more liable to convert. So it's a twofer, right? Twofer, maybe a threefer, probably a threefer. So those are always like the best bets in my book. Press releases. I've had a lot of people ask me if press releases still work. And they can, but you have to do some stuff to the press releases if like to really get the bang out of your buck. First of all, I would actually only put a press release out for like newsy stuff. Don't make up stuff for press releases because it won't get a good pickup. And what you really want is a good pickup by all the news agencies, right? So the trick with a press release is once it goes out, you want to do whatever the primary keyword was that you were trying to target with a press release. After it's been out for about at least 36 hours, maybe as long as 72 hours, you do a search for the keyword. You might have to do a search for the keyword plus your business name and see what ranks at the top, because there's still going to be a number of news agencies that are ranking, right? But the one that ranks at the top is going to be the strongest one for whatever reason, whatever is in Google's little algorithmic head that this is the one that is most relevant. So that's the one that you want to go after. You put your Google stacks behind that. And the other thing is when you're actually posting the press release, you want to remember to include a video, include links to your social and web, because that's going to push more link juice. So you're going to then add Google Stacks to the back of that. You can go into your video, you can add a link to the press release. I'd probably do it as a comment as opposed to in the description. More about that later. because I don't think we actually get into any kind of video optimization today. I mean, we have a whole training thing with that, but I was going to share some evil stuff with you guys. So, I would make those changes. I'd add it as a comment to your video, and I would do a press release that's about, I mean, I would do a blog post that's about the press release. Don't use the same content as the press release, but just talk about the fact that you had a press release and link to the press release. Yeah. There's some more stuff you can do. You can get quite intricate with your, with the backlinking that you can do to the press release. Give me a one if that would be interesting to you guys. Do you want me to get into like what you need to do with a press release to like really get a big bang out of the buck with that? Or two if that's, oh wow, okay, that's a definite yes. All right, Chaz, would you stick that on the list of stuff? Awesome. Okay. So the next thing is online engagements. First and foremost, chatbots, right? Like, I have actually been shocked. I've been doing a little bit of research into chatbots over the course of the last, I don't know, 6 weeks or so, maybe even 2 months. And I got to the point where it was like, man, all right, I have to put a chatbot on at least some of my sales pages, right? Some of my more high profile sales pages, because of stats like this, 83% of online shoppers need assistance to complete an order. And some of my products are, more intricate than others. And I know people ask me a lot of questions. So those would be the places where I really want a chatbot, right? And 75% of customers expect help within 5 minutes. Thank goodness most of my members are a little bit more patient than that. But that's just the state of where we are. Everybody is in instant gratification mode. So I went through, and my team, if I let them on this webinar, they would rant. I mean, you want to talk about a soapbox. They will tell you how horrible chatbot software is, and they will take days to explain in excruciating detail how terrible they are. Okay, so there's a myriad of issues, right? They're either too hard to code, or yeah, some of them are making comments now. They're either horrible to try to code, or they're easy to code, but then they don't actually work, or they don't interface with our blog, or we're on Kajabi, right? So then there's all that. So I got together with one of my programmer friends, and we have a chatbot that's coming out in a couple of weeks. This is not intentional to try to plug it. I'm just saying I am frustrated. So if you're frustrated and you're looking for a solution, stay tuned. There's one coming. And just like everything out there says that it's absolutely worth it to implement one. All right. So, sure. Absolutely, Dragon. Absolutely. In fact, give me a ping and we'll talk. All right, so engagement equals traffic. Quora is an awesome platform. It's got a very intelligent audience. I've gotten a lot of traffic off of it, and it converts well. So don't spam them. Don't get on and do, like some kind of you can ask a question and then answer it on Quora, which can be very cool, but don't be insulting about it. Like, be real. Otherwise your answer will just get voted down, or your thing gets taken off, or your account gets banned. Like, they don't tolerate bullshit there. But it can be an incredibly awesome platform. YouTube, think about doing video tutorials, a whole course for a whole course for Yeah, we have a whole course for optimizing videos. That's what that comment was supposed to be. That was supposed to be a comment probably under the scenes as opposed to on the actual slide deck, but that's okay. Let me just see where I'm at, make sure I don't have any links that I'm missing. I know I had links in here somewhere. All right. Oh yeah, okay. That went to the next slide. Okay, good. YouTube at the moment is trying to take on the TV market. Yeah, right. YouTube came out, I don't know, probably a year or so ago with actually like, I don't remember if it's like YouTube.tv, tv.youtube.com, something like that. Like they've got a whole subdomain kind of a thing just for TV. They've started doing their own in-house video series. I don't know if you pay much attention to YouTube, but they're really trying to compete with Netflix and Amazon Prime. And I find it fascinating. Like they have enough money behind them, obviously being Google, that they've got the ability to be able to do it. But Google has been notorious at not, well, it's not really a social thing, so they might make it work. Anyway, it's something to watch. It's definitely something to keep on your radar and watch for the monetization options that are going to be available there. In terms of like, being able to put your ads there. I haven't tried playing with putting the ads up there yet, but I'm sure that'll be coming soon if it's not already there. Instagram. You guys know how I feel about Instagram. It's the platform I love to hate, but they have a new e-com solution in the works. A new feature that would enable brands to sell products right within the app. So the stats already for Instagram are just absolutely amazing. Like, despite how much I really don't like the platform, I'm probably going to end up there in the not too distant future. Like, I don't know, a month, maybe 5 years, probably a couple of months, probably by the end of summer. But everybody, yeah, exactly, right? Everybody that I've talked to who's actually on Instagram is making a killing there. So it's worth it. There's a lot of crossover between Instagram and Facebook. So like if you post a video on Facebook, you can post it over on Instagram. And even though the videos don't last very long, it's at least a twofer, right? So back to the whole, if it's a twofer, I'm interested. So. All right. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. I am intrigued by the new e-com solution they have coming out. So solid engagement platforms. So Facebook watch parties came out, I don't know. They were announced last summer. They got opened up to everybody last fall. Oh, that's an interesting question. Neil asks, would I recommend some people to follow on Instagram as a good, scrolled off my screen, as a good marketing example? Jazz, make a note of that, and we'll follow up with that on part 2. I don't know anybody because I avoid Instagram with passion, but I'll find out because it's a good idea. That's actually a great idea. Facebook watch parties are gaining the latest rage, right? So there's for me there's a crossover between a watch party and replaying a pre-recorded video as a live stream, but there's a difference. Okay. Let me make a note of that, Neil. Thanks. Put up here. Whoops, that didn't actually. Sorry, 2 shakes of lamb still, folks. All right, so watch parties. Watch parties are a little bit different than live streaming a pre-recorded video, but it's basically the same idea. A watch party is where you can, you have a host, you can have co-hosts, and you can specify 1 or more videos to watch. You can add more videos to the watch party as everybody's watching. So think about it. The thing that I get, the feeling that I have from what it is that they're trying to accomplish is, you know how we all used to sit around and watch TV, and now we don't do it anymore because everybody's on their own phone, right? So like getting together, collecting together in the living room and watching even old standbys like Rocky Horror Picture Show and that kind of thing. Like it just doesn't happen the way it used to. So this is like that, but virtual, so that you can get with your friends all around the world and you can watch a video and you can comment about the video. You can still throw like buttered toast to the screen, but it's not as effective because nobody else gets to see the mess the buttered toast made. But that's beside the point. So it's kind of like that. So you can also use this for marketing purposes, right? You can use it. Uh, a group can have a watch party, a page can have a watch party, and now personal personas can have watch parties too, which, as far as I was concerned, is where I would have started because it made more sense personally. But it's interesting in that you can have a watch party as a group or as a page, because now think about it, you can have, like what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to carry on a conversation. I'm over here chatting with people individually. Sometimes I'm typing, sometimes I'm talking, and I'm trying to actually present at the same time, right? Which, yeah, it works for me because I got a split personality, but other people find it a little bit more difficult. So this makes that, exactly right. This makes that a little bit easier. You can put the video on, you can let it run, and then as you can watch it with people who, are potential customers or clients or whatever. And as they ask questions, you can interact with them, or they make comments, or blah, blah, blah. And the thing that I would consider is it's always good to have a shrill in the audience. Just my little 2 cents. All right. So that is watch parties. And somebody asked me, oh, you don't know what a shrill is. So a shrill is basically a plant, right? It's somebody who works for the company, and they make all of the right comments, and they set up questions so that people can answer, and just basically makes the whole presentation look good. It's from back in vaudeville days. I might be showing. Oh, a shill. Sorry, shill. Yes, absolutely. Showing my age and lack of caffeine, apparently. So the other thing that Facebook has got going on is breaking news label that just started, right? And they've got a couple of things going on with the news at the moment, because the other thing that they're talking about is really cracking down on what is legitimate news or what's not legitimate news. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of scuttlebutt about that. Anyway, that's the latest thing, is the new news label and a news tab, which I think are actually 2 different things. Pinterest just went public, like within the last, 24 hours. And they've added 51 million people in the last 12 months, as opposed to, what's the one? As opposed to Snapchat, which actually seems to be losing ground. But Snapchat's come out with some stuff recently too. They've got like a new map thing that they just came out with. But Pinterest, Pinterest is something that we've explored. I mean, I've been using Pinterest for a long time, but we did a deeper dive into it since we had the networks, since we started selling the networks about a month ago. And my respect for Pinterest has grown over the course of the last month. It was already reasonably high, but it's really grown a lot. And I would have to say that previously there were probably markets that I would have said aren't going to do that well on Pinterest, and I sit corrected. Like there's probably a few markets out there that it wouldn't be worth it to do on Pinterest, but I don't know of any of them right off the top of my head, aside from the ones that they really don't want you to do advertising on. They don't want you to pin about, but everything else I think is fair game. It's really pretty interesting. Like in my head, I had considered it to be, and it is largely a female market still, but it comes up a lot and people share a lot. It's a pretty viral place. If you think through the images, like if you're just posting willy-nilly, then you're probably not going to get all of that good a response out of it. But if you really think about the images a little bit, you can get some good traffic off of there. You have to spend a little bit of time. With your profile, you give me one if you guys want us to do a whole Pinterest deep dive. If that would be interesting to you, that we actually pull out all the stops, and this is all of the stuff that we do with Pinterest. All right, a wall of ones there. Okay, so stick. And what was interesting is that the people who put one, they didn't just put one. They were like a lot of ones. So we'll definitely put that on the list. Um, so other places, solid engagement platforms, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Play. In my humble opinion, I consider excellent. I'm not a big audio person, right? I don't do MP3s particularly well. I've got books on MP3s that from Audible, from Amazon, and I don't find the time to listen to them well. So I don't talk about MP3 platforms as much as I probably should, because there are a lot of people out there that really have a huge following on um, on whatever platform they're on, and there are places now where you can host your MP3 and it's automatically distributed to a dozen different MP3 libraries. I don't want platforms where you can get in front of a lot of MP3 audiences, and so I think it's definitely worth it. Yeah, exactly, Neil. You got John Rogan, Tim Ferriss, you've got Dave Asprey, a lot of people, like people I actually follow, are doing are on those platforms, and I probably should be too. But you gotta choices, and yeah, exactly. You gotta pick your battles and pick your playgrounds. So, but it's a solid marketing venue. LinkedIn. LinkedIn publishing is, if you're in a B2B kind of scenario, LinkedIn can be really valuable. I have had slide shares that I've put up there that have gotten a lot of traction. And they've got a new document upload option for regular posts that provide new sharing options. So I think, I perceive LinkedIn as not being as valuable since Microsoft took it over, but I can see where they're trying to bring some of those aspects back. And I still find that, because when I think about, the slideshows and stuff that I had that got traction, that was back prior to MSN days. But I think if you've got the time to actually set up a group and to publish stuff up there, I perceive it as to be a pretty good platform still. And particularly in some of those places where it's hard to reach other professionals in your vertical, I think it's still a worthwhile endeavor. All right, so let's talk for a minute about stats. And remember, we're talking about traffic getting, right? So this is analytics and stats in regards to getting traffic. So it's highly advisable to use trackable links, right? If you're going to go post stuff like what we were just talking about up on LinkedIn and some of these other places, if you use some kind of tracking code, then you'll be able to see a little bit easier exactly where your traffic is coming from. So in Google Analytics, for example, you can see how much traffic came from Facebook and all the other social platforms pretty easily. There's one section of the dashboard that shows you that. And then if you drill down, you can see the content that they came to, but it's not super obvious. Like it's difficult, and it's difficult to line up who came in from Facebook and, like somebody came in, let's not say Facebook, somebody came in off of this core article you posted and they bought this product. You're never going to see that in analytics. So if you want to see that kind of granularity, I recommend Clicky, not the free version. You're going to have to go with probably the $10 or $15 version in order to be able to see everything. But it is really worth it. Clicky is brilliant in that regard, and I know a lot of members have been using it for years. In terms of getting traffic, track the popular content, right? So take a look at, there's an 80-20 rule for everything, right? So take a look at the traffic, take a look at the topics that are getting the most amount of traffic and create more content. Now, not just traffic, but converting traffic, right? And this is where you need to slow down and set up goals. So you take a look and you see what kind of content is resulting in the sorts of sales that mean the most to you, because also when you look at your sales, you've got an 80-20 rule there too, right? 20% of your sales are going to bring in 80% of your income. So figure out what those products are, take a look at the traffic that's buying that and what kind of content they're reading, and write more of that kind of content. Does that make sense? Give me a 1, because I thought about doing a diagram for that, but I ran out of time. Give me a 1 if that makes sense, and a 2 if it's a little fuzzy and we need to do a quickie diagram. Oh, good. I think we got 1s from everybody. Good, good, good. All right. Webmaster Tools. So the reason you want to stick your nose in Webmaster Tools is because when Google is upset about some of the stuff that you've got going on, they can either do a suppression filter, which means you either don't get onto page 1 or you don't get above the fold on page 1. Sometimes you don't get above page 3. There's all different kinds of suppression filters, and they're caused from all different kinds of things. So where you want to go, because the new version of Google Console is not nearly as intuitive. All of the information is actually there, but it's not as intuitive defined as it was. Well, maybe just, a billion years in the old version. Maybe that's the only reason it was intuitive. I don't know. So to find out what's going on, you come here to coverage and click on these 3 sections. You're going to see details down here about each one of these sorts of errors. And you're going to want to click into those and see exactly what's going on. Do a couple Google searches. If you have some kind of an error in Webmaster Tools and you don't know what it means, stick up a post inside of our Facebook group and I'll get back to you with an answer, because I've talked to programmers who came back with the wrong idea about what they thought was going on. And I'm like, wow, if programmers can't figure out what other programmers are trying to talk about, then it's not terribly obvious what a lot of these warning and error messages mean. So that's that, and we'll figure out how to get it fixed. And some things, so like the things that Google gets really upset about is if your sitemap is screwed up. So if your sitemap includes items that are either not available because of your robots.txt file, or they're not actually on your website, then Google gets really upset about those. The other thing this will show you is if you've got a lot of 500 errors, which is this error right here, this means that your server is responding too slowly in order to give Google the data. And if you have a lot of those errors, you need a better server, or you need to compress your database or something along those lines. Let me just see how we're going for time. Oh my goodness, we're well over an hour. All right. List building. We're getting toward the end. More coffee. Hang on. Okay, so I've talked today about a whole bunch of different ways that you can get traffic. Now let's talk about what you're going to do with that traffic, because traffic without a means to the end. All right, sales pages. Think about this for a second. You put up a sales page. You drive traffic to your sales page. If you have a good sales page, you might get a 3% conversion. More than that is rare. So you've got 97% of your traffic that walks away. Now you can do retargeting, but that costs money. So what if instead of retargeting, you had the option for a list, and people who were a little bit interested or maybe really liked your content, they could get on your list, right? So this is one of those places. I cannot tell you how many small businesses don't have any kind of a list. Like the vast majority of my clients, and I don't have small clients, right? My clients are all pretty good size. And the vast majority of my clients either do not have a list, or they haven't mailed out to their list in at least 5 years, or they've never mailed out. I mean, just, oh my gosh. So let me talk for just a few minutes about list building. No way in God's little green earth I can do justice about list building here with the few minutes we have. However, if you don't have a list at all, go to Aweber and subscribe, because you can subscribe there for something like $10. You can create a list. It takes just a few minutes. They've got some pretty good tutorials. It's not the most intuitive place, but it's decent. Create a list, create the initial welcome email, and create a form. Then you put your form on your website, and you can start collecting names. And I think there's one more slide I want to talk about. What has happened to my links? All right. Good. Not as many links as I thought. All right. So I had a slide here with the idea that I was going to show you what a good squeeze page looked like, but I forgot to put an image on there. So squeeze page can be extremely simple. It can just be like an image on the left-hand side and your form on the right-hand side. The form should only have 2 fields, name and email. Keep it simple. You're going to have a lot more people opt in. If you're going to have just like a little widget on your sidebar, again, just name, email on your sidebar. You're going to want to have some kind of a lead magnet. What this means is, why should I sign up? And your most simple lead magnet is going to be, get on the list and I'll send you coupons, or I'll give you good information, or, that is your most simple lead magnet. But make it sound enticing, right? Don't just, subscribe to my list. Boom. Like that's your opt-in rate is going to be extremely low if you leave it with the defaults. So make it sound good. I had a long conversation with one of my clients, and I can't remember, this was a couple weeks ago, and I can't remember if I turned around and talked about lead magnets on the next webinar. It was my intention. So give me a 1 if you would like us to go into a deep dive about lead magnets in the not too distant future, and a 2 if you've got lead magnets covered and like you don't need any help with that. 7s don't count, guys. I don't know what 7s are supposed to mean. That's all the yeah, right? That's all the peanut gallery. 7s and 8s. Okay, so somebody said that they'd love to see the psychology behind lead magnets. And that's an interesting topic. That's definitely a soapbox topic. I could speak eloquently about that. We don't have a lot of people saying, we still got pretty much everybody on the webinar. We don't have a lot of people saying that they're excited about lead magnets. So the biggest problem my client had with a lead magnet was he kept coming up with ideas that weren't very exciting. I'm like, you're not going to get anybody to sign up with that lead magnet. Like it's a good idea, but we need something sexier. So I actually developed, it was in talking to him that I actually developed sort of a little thing about, ways that you could create a lead magnet concept pretty easily. All right. So some kind of a lead magnet, you can have a popover on your page too. That's very common. Just don't do it too quickly when people hit your website. I've seen plugins that are supposed to wait for 2 minutes, but they don't wait. They still pop over in a couple of seconds. So when you set up a popover, make sure you test it and it's not annoying. And if you're going to have a squeeze page, instead of just having an image on the left, conversion goes way, 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 way up. Like I would say 60, 70% up. If you have a short little video under 2 minutes about why they should opt in, what it is they're going to get on the other side. All right. Oh yeah. Emails. I just put in, like this was like the day before yesterday at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I put in a psychology section. This is an Extreme Ninja psychology of email, and this is like less than a quarter of the page. But there's a couple of things. Yeah, shameless plug here for the course. Do we actually have a link to the course? No, that's okay. Shameless plug anyway. So I want to talk about a couple of concepts here. So engaging curiosity. The idea behind engaging curiosity is you tell a story. You can tell a story either in email, but this also works really, really well with social posts. So you're going along, you tell a little story, and then you leave them with a cliffhanger, right? And people hate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Copy. That's not what I want. Here's the link to Extreme if you guys aren't in. So it drives people crazy. They have to know, you want to keep it short because you want to make sure that people stay engaged and that they read the whole thing, and then you leave them with a cliffhanger. And people cannot stand open loops. Like, it's just the way our brain is wired. We have to know, even if we don't really care, we have to know what the conclusion is. And so you get the click. So this works, as I said, equally well for emails and for social posts. And one of the other things that we talk about in here that I wrote about in here is how storytelling creates a connection, and it's through mirror neurons. And it's a little bit long to get into here, but it is a very cool way to be able to connect with somebody, to create an emotional connection, and that helps to build trust. And so there's some details in there about how you can include that in your emails too, and that should, well, you can do it all the way through your emails. I see some people, some really good marketers who have a story in every single email they send out. Yeah, I need a bigger team for that to happen in my marketing, but you can have just some emails with stories and it still works incredibly well. All right, so now you guys are all set up with your emails. All you need is traffic, right? Give me one if you guys want some hands-free traffic. And a 2 if you got all the traffic you need. You don't need it anymore, right? Excellent. 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 We've got quite a number of 1s there. All right. So we have open again for a few days. I think it's until Sunday midnight. Our network traffic domination. And it includes some extreme training. We're including the extreme map ranking. We're including the extreme video ranking, and we're including the entire front page dominated. And we are not done with this training yet. We opened this product for the first time for our beta testers about a month ago, and we are ready to open again. Let me just show you really quickly. Let me drop you the link. Maybe it might be a good thing too, huh? Yeah, exactly. All right, let's see. Let's just go through the sales page here really quickly. So let me talk about bonuses for a second. These are multiple sites. Like they're really most effective in their multiple siteness packages, the multiple site packages. You can get one if you're like looking at a very small niche and you don't need a lot of traffic. You can get one, but they're very moreish. Most of our networks consist of 5 to 10 sites. So what's on offer is a private search engine traffic network, 100% done for you, totally hands-free. You can have absolutely any niche, any market, and it can be local. And folks have come back to me and they said, wow, can we do stuff like Viagra? Absolutely. Like stuff that is banned on most social platforms, you can do with a traffic network. And the bonuses that we're including are we're going to level up with our proprietary traffic amplification system. We're going to give you certain packages have got the market domination consultation where I sit down with you and we talk about what it is you're trying to accomplish, and we look at how we can get the best synergy out of the networks. And that conversation can go in pretty much any direction we need it to go in. So GoTo just came up and said that my connection has degraded. Can you guys still hear me okay? Give me a 1 if everything's still cool, and a 2 if this is sounding really bad. Okay. All right, good. And as I said, we've still got some of the extreme ninja training going on. We've got our next one on Tuesday. And we've got customized splash screens, which I'll get into in a minute. All right, so let's just bebop down and tell you a little bit more about what's going on. So this is better than a normal PBN because, as I talked about earlier, like if you have no traffic on the sites where you've got links coming into, then Google doesn't think too much about it. So our sites are teeming with traffic. We make sure they're teeming with traffic. You can do any niche, any market, any language goes, any country, anything. We've got some examples here of purchases from just one of our networks where we had 358 purchases. This is over a 12-month period with 10 sites. We can look here really quickly at PBN versus traffic network. Again, we send you traffic where PBNs are just sending you a link. It's totally hands-free. Everything. We set up the hosting. We do the setup of the website. We do the traffic amplification system. We drip the content out. These sites will have, over time, they'll generate up to 1 million pages. And the traffic forwards to you, and it forwards with a JavaScript. It doesn't have a link. So there's absolutely no danger to your sites getting penalized. You can do videos and map embeds. So in other words, we can take your social platforms, we can take your videos, we can take your YouTube channel, we can put links to all of that in these sites. It's definitely a step up from other mass page websites that you've heard about, because I really don't recommend sending links directly to your money site or to something that could be penalized. And because of the way we do the redirect with the JavaScript, you're going to get a lot more traffic to your website than if somebody had to click on a link anyway. This is just a sample here on the left. We started a keto demo network when we kicked off the network, the beta networks last month. And so this is just an example of the kind of traffic that we got on our network. You can see here sites vary. We haven't done anything to this network yet. This is all just bang out of the box. So it's starting with this next week. We will take the plastic wrap off and we will start applying our traffic amplification system. And you're going to get a see with us. We're going to let you see over the shoulder as what we're doing and how we're doing it. Right this minute, we've got a couple of different landing pages that we're testing. And you can do split testing with these. You can give us multiple destinations, and we can split test what the end result is, so that you've got, in the end, you've got the thing that's going to convert for you the best. So I should talk probably for another minute about what we do, because I've had a lot of people ask what the proprietary traffic amplification system is, TAS for short, since I can see my voice is starting to give out. Hang on. It's really an unfair advantage. This is a thing that we have developed over the course of the last, I don't know, well, I suppose 24 months, but we've put a lot of time and energy into it over the course of the last 12 months in terms of how do you get a site like this to really kick some serious behind. And so we integrate several different things. We do cloud stacking, we do inbound links from a variety of things. We've got some social stuff that goes on. We basically go out to every place that you can possibly think of. It's a combination of automation and handcrafted. I'm looking for better words than the ones that are coming immediately to mind, but it's a system that incorporates a lot of different methodologies to provide the best bang for the buck. And we've got these dashboards that help us keep an eye on what's going on, which means because everybody's different, right? Everybody's market is different. So we're watching your market and we're tweaking what we're doing based on the results that we're getting. And yeah, oh yeah, thank you. This is real traffic. None of this here is bot traffic. Exactly. Real traffic, real people, ancient Chinese secret. Exactly. All right. So bonus, dominate Google's front page. Like this is some of the coolest stuff. Like these are some really extremely evil ninja tricks that we're teaching in these courses. As I said, we've got a couple of them done already. I think we have really only have one done. We've got two more that we want to do, and we want to show you over the shoulder with what we're doing. So in other words, we've got 3 webinars where we're going to give you the theory, and then we're going to show you what it is we're doing with our sites so you can see how it is that we're integrating with our network with what it is that we're doing with our Keto website, and you can see the results. So you've got a better idea what you can do with your website and with your social platforms and how to take advantage of it so that you can dominate Google's front page with your properties too. Awesome. You guys are excited. I love it. I'm stoked. I am really stoked. We're creating for you a customized splash screen. We tried a bunch of different things, and it's really obvious to me that we have to tweak these out to each individual market for the best effect. So, and again, we can test these to see which one converts traffic the best, gets the most click-throughs to your site too. And then last but not least on the bonuses is kibitzing. We sit down and we get on a phone call and we take your project apart, put it back together again, and look at all of the different ways that the network can help you dominate your market and get the biggest bang for your buck. And, you know, there's like that, those are the obvious places, the traffic, the landing pages, the conversion elements. Those are the obvious initial points of departure, but that conversation can go anywhere. We can talk about anything with your project that you want to talk about. All right, so as I said, doors are closing soon. So here's what happened, right? A month ago, we opened the doors. We got in some beta users. There were things, because we hadn't tried doing this for anybody else before, right? This is a completely done for you system. And we hadn't, everything was in-house prior to this. And so I don't know if you guys know how it is, but it's one thing when you're doing something for yourself. It's another thing when you're doing something for somebody else. So, so we let so many people in, we closed the door, and like there were some things that were just like, okay, we need to like work that a little bit differently. And so we've got all the bugs worked out at this point. So we're opening the doors again. Anybody who didn't have the chance to get in last time, please feel free to jump in now. The prices are still reasonably low. They're a little bit higher than last time, but they're still reasonably low. We're going to go JV starting next week. So when the doors close, I'm not like, it's not like, you know, the buy buttons are going to come off or anything like that, but definitely the friends and family pricing is going to go away Sunday, Monday. And as we launch to JVs, the prices will pretty much double, right? So I want you guys to just, I want all you guys to get in. Like if you're excited about this, if this is your cup of tea, I definitely want you to hop in and get on the inside. And you know, then the price can go up for the rest of the world. All right. So can you use any domain? Yes. If you want us to use your domains, we absolutely can. I haven't really found anything that doesn't work. So TLD doesn't really matter. If you want to start with like if you don't already have a site, just let us get one for you because it's all included in the price. Absolutely, yes. You should take advantage now. Exactly, yes. Are these WordPress or HTML sites? They're HTML sites because WordPress sites get hacked, right? Like that's just the bottom line. And for a minute, I thought these sites got hacked too. And then we looked a little bit harder and it was like, oh no, check that out. It's actually got like an anti-hack device to it. It's very cool. Actually, it's very, very cool. So what happens, right? What happens if you cancel? Well, all right. I promise I won't send any ninjas after you. We'll hand you the keys. You get the sites, you get the domains, you get the hosting. We will no longer provide the task system because that's something we do as part of the monthly fee. But everything else will be good. Yeah, right? The terrorist. No, I can't do him. Sorry. Can this penalize my money site? No. Because it's not a hard link. It's not a 301 link. It's it's a JavaScript that does the redirect. So it's not going to hurt you. The kicker is because the JavaScript doesn't pass PageRank, it also doesn't pass penalizations. All right, so pricing options. Our guarantee, if anything happens to any of your sites during the first year, we will replace it for free. And should I mention this? I'm going to mention it anyway. We've got some pretty good sized options here, right? So we've got like 10 sites and 20 sites. And if you opt for one of these, I'm just going to say we might take a little bit longer to do the fulfillment on it because we try to get you good sites. There's some niches that are harder to get than others, obviously, where it's more difficult to get a site. So I'll just go ahead and say this. I'm debating with myself. No, I'll go ahead and tell you guys because you guys are friends and family, right? So if we get down the pike and we find another site that's like, oh, so cool, we'll replace your site even if it's not penalized. Right? Yeah, my team's saying, no, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. Because I don't want to set an expectation, right? But that is how much I want you guys to succeed. I want you guys, and you can see up here, like some of the sites are doing better than some of the other sites, right? And we don't know what's going to happen until after we buy the sites. And so, like, if Local Snacks doesn't pick up, we'll just replace it. Like, that's how we are. So, so the one caveat, no refunds once the sites are delivered, because yeah, my team's saying I'm giving too much away. That's just me. I love you guys. So no refunds once the sites are delivered because then we've got our time and effort and everything put into it. What we did this time was we lowered the barrier to entry and we increased the monthly a little bit. So for you guys who are on the call and you're like, I paid more than that, just know that over the course of the year, you guys still got the best deal. But because I do want everybody who wanted to hop in, I had a couple guys come by and go, oh, wow, we just couldn't get the money together before you close the door. So I wanted to give everybody the opportunity to get in who wanted to. My team is threatening me with shocky sticks. That's too funny. All right, so we've got limited availability on the 20 site one just because it is a stretch to be able to get 20 sites in a niche. Please don't come to me and want like some little teeny niche and 20 domains with it because that's probably not going to be viable. But you can mix and match. So let's say you want to go with a 10 site or 20 site because the price is awesome. But you only want 3 sites for this and 5 sites for that. And we can do that, right? I said on the last time we opened the door, I said you can have more than one topic on a single website. And while it's true you can do that, at this juncture I have to say, given what I've seen over the course of the last month, I don't recommend it. If you have a small little niche-y thing, I would take one entire site for that one little niche thing. And if you've got like, a smallish locale, then I would think about bigger, like think about taking on the entire state. In fact, think about taking on, a quarter of the United States, even if it's a local thing. Yeah. So as I said, we can talk about this. There's a link on the bottom of the page. No chatbot. Oh, did I say that too loud? Anyway, sorry. You can click this. It'll take you right to the page where you can put in a help desk ticket, or if you guys have my Skype or my email, feel free to just reach out and talk. We've got some frequently asked questions here along with the answers, and so yeah, I won't bore you with going through all of those because I probably answered most of those questions at this point. And on the inside, we've got let me just think about the form for a second because it's got some good stuff in there. So you can put in like up to 1,000 keywords. You can put in up to 500 locales. And we take all of that information and we go to town, right? We're going to like generate enough keywords so that it will easily create 1 million pages. There's a few really small niches where we have problems coming up with that. I can't guarantee you that we'll be able to get you 1 million pages, but we really go to town on the keyword research. And we talked about the fact that you can put in socials, and you can put in your Google Map pack, and you can put in all kinds of things. Pretty much any kind of a link that you want to send juice to, we can do that. Exactly. So, any questions? You guys have the link? Oh, good. Oh, excellent. No, I'm not going to show the form. I don't think that's necessary. I talked about the bits I wanted to. Oh, good. Oh, great. We've got a couple people who are jumping in. Sam's joined us. A couple more people who are going to jump in. That's excellent. I will see you guys on the inside, and we'll see you on the webinar on Tuesday for some serious domination, some serious evil domination. Link, by the way, is right at the top as you log in the members area. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right, guys, I will let you go. We will be back next Thursday, I believe. Same bat time, same bat place. And check out the Facebook page. In the meantime, let me know what kinds of topics you're interested in. We'll get up some forms by tomorrow and ask you guys some questions. Didn't I put, oh, I don't have the sales page actually. No, I put the link in the chat box, didn't I? Pretty sure. I'll drop it in one more time. My team's telling me I don't have the link in there. Alrighty. And if you're watching the replay, the link will be right underneath the video. Excellent. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Sue Bell, Market Domination Solutions.